Hey everyone, and welcome to the Hazy Sports Podcast. We've got a hell of a show for you today. Man, it's been 1 week in the sports world. We've got Western Michigan coming off their first natty in the Frozen Four. Probably one of the best Masters tournaments I've ever seen, with Rory getting it done on the career Grand Slam. We got NBA playoffs kicking off. And of course, most importantly, we've got NHL playoffs just around the corner. We're here with our NHL playoff preview. Charlie, can you feel the excitement?
I can feel the excitement, and I can also feel the, somewhat lackluster end to the season. There's been some pretty rough hockey the last couple weeks, teams out of it, teams with nothing to play for. So I'm excited to get some meaningful hockey back in our lives here.
Yeah, well, we certainly have one meaningful game left in the regular season. We're recording here Wednesday evening at about 6 o'clock, so we're going to roll right into this to Montreal against the Hurricanes to see if they can secure that last playoff spot in the East.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's coming down to the last game because, they had multiple chances to lock this up, and they've kind of let Columbus back in the picture here, so we'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, they kind of missed that beautiful story that was going with Demidov with a goal and an assist to kick them off. I thought that was just going to be a perfect way to welcome him to the league and clinch their playoff spot, but one more chance to get at it. We'll talk more about him later, but we've got full episode today. We're going to skip our normal segments with the weekly hazing and the report card. We're just going to jump right into breaking down all the series here.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's start off in the East. Can I interest you in a Battle of Ontario?
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. So, the lines, Leafs 170 to win the series, Senators plus 142, according to FanDuel. The Senators actually won the season series 3-0. So it's kind of interesting heading into this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've kind of went back and forth on this one over the past few weeks once it kind of looked like this was going to happen. I think where I'm landing now is, fuck's sakes, sorry. Like this cat. I've kind of went back and forth on this one, to be honest. On one side, I look at Brady Tkachuk and just think he's just going to get in Toronto's head and get them not playing the game they want to play. When I was watching Rory McIlroy at the Masters and see him almost blow it this weekend, it actually kind of reminded me of the Leafs, where they've had a great team, great chance to win it so many years in a row. But when the moment finally comes, it's almost like something between the ears. As soon as they get, some negative momentum going, and the bounces aren't going their way, you can just feel the whole team start to think, here we go again. But I don't know, where's your head at with this series?
So normally that would be my exact thought, is any little bit of adversity is going to rip this team down. And I know this is probably the dumbest thing I think I've ever said, but I just think this Leafs team's different. And I know people have been saying that for the last decade or so, but I just think it's a better coach. I think they're a little more battle tested now. And, being a nothing tournament or whatever you want to call it, I think Mitch kind of learned how to win and how to step up to adversity in that Four Nations. And I think we're going to see a little bit of a different Leafs team.
Yeah, I'm on that with you. I had the Leafs to sort of their Rory moment coming through here, where I think this is the time, for all the reasons you just said. I mean, Tkachuk scares me. Ullmark scares me. He's the type of goalie that can get hot and steal a few games, and Ottawa's playing with a lot of confidence coming in here. But ultimately, I just think the depth of that Leafs team is going to be too much. I think the confidence that some of those guys got in the Four Nations is gonna help, and with Berube in there, I think he's gonna get them through at least past this first round, anyways.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the mind games are going to kind of work the opposite way, because Timmy Stützle's kind of got a reputation as a bit of a soft player too. And I think the Leafs can get in that guy's head, just like teams have, with the same with Marner. And my only question with the Leafs is the goaltending, as usual. Like, these guys are pretty unproven, but they're both big. They take up the whole net. Stolarz is coming in on a bit of a heater. So if you have to make a pick, I'm taking Leafs in 5 in this one.
Yeah, I'm going Leafs in 6. I think the Senators are going to steal a couple, but one thing for sure, it's going to be entertaining hockey to watch, so I can't wait for that one to get started.
Absolutely. I got 2 X factors for this series. Whether or not Morgan Rielly can get some sort of form of his game back together, because he's had a terrible, terrible season. And for the Ottawa side, I had the Tkachuk mind games. Can he get these guys on tilt early and often?
I guess the other side of that coin is, can he go too far? He's going to be amped up to a 15. They need to kind of get him down to a 10 just to keep the emotions in check a little bit. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see some great storylines and players to keep an eye on for that one.
Yeah, I got Leafs in 5.
Okay, let's switch it up. Now we go from the Battle of Ontario to the Battle of the Sunshine State. 2 heavy hitters here, 2 very experienced teams. We got Florida and Tampa. How are you breaking that one down in terms of season record and odds?
Okay, so FanDuel's got Tampa at -102 to win the series. Panthers -118, so you're laying a bit of juice with the defending champs. They split the season series 2-2. This has got to be the best coaching matchup of the first round. Like two all-timers here. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. Tampa, the top offense in the league coming in. They probably have the 2 least talked about guys having the best seasons. Like, if you take away Hellebuck, Vasilevsky's got 38 wins, 2.18 goals against, and then he's got a .920 save percentage, and you're barely hearing anything about this guy. And then you got Kucherov, who's going to win a scoring title, and it's just kind of, oh yeah, okay. It's crazy.
Yeah, a couple things you mentioned there. I saw that NHL players poll that came out, and most of the results were pretty obvious, but one that actually jumped out to me was they voted Vasilevsky as the best goalie in the NHL, despite what Hellebuck's done this year. Players are saying that they know what it's like better than anybody, so kind of go beyond the stats that Hellebuck has, and, just a reminder of how good Vasilevsky is. Another thing you talked about from the coaching side, I didn't realize Paul Maurice just moved into 3rd all-time for coaching wins. You talk about guys kind of quietly hitting those milestones. That shocked me in terms of coaching legacy, but I guess he's been doing it for a while, but that one kind of surprised me.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Yeah, I knew he would be up there, but I didn't think top 3. But
yeah, so him and Cooper, that's probably got to be the best coaching matchup in any of the series going.
For sure. But he's going to have his work cut out for him in this series, because Tampa, they score a lot of goals, but they're probably the most balanced team in the East, because they've got the number 5 power play, but also a top 10 penalty kill as well. So they do it all. And the other side of things, you got Reinhardt, a bit of a down year this year. Is Barkov going to be 100% coming back? No one really knows what kind of Matthew Tkachuk you're getting. Sam Bennett's always a nut job out there, but I kind of worry where Florida's going to get the goals from in this series.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my pick is Tampa in this series. They're pretty evenly matched teams, but I think the health issues that Florida has, just having them not having time to gel before the playoffs. So I think it'll be a close one, but I'm taking Tampa in 6.
I got Tampa in 7, so it should be a good series, though. I'm looking forward to that one.
One interesting thing just on the lines I thought was funny is I was looking at the odds to win the Cup, and Florida was actually the lowest odds at plus 650 to win the Cup, and Tampa was plus 1200. So I thought that was kind of strange that they were almost double the odds to win the Cup, at least on FanDuel.
Especially when the series is basically a pick'em on the odds front. That is kind of weird.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to be another entertaining series to watch. Moving right along to our next series in the East, we have the Washington Capitals against possibly the Montreal Canadiens, or will it be the Columbus Blue Jackets? we're thinking Montreal. We kind of prepared for this episode as if it was going to be Montreal, but another potentially interesting matchup with some of the magic that Montreal's had towards the end of the year.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no solid lines on the series because it isn't official yet. But the Capitals won the season series with Montreal 2-1. They're coming in a little bit banged up with Alexei Protas and Logan Thompson kind of iffy. Should be back for the first game, but everything's kind of secrecy with that kind of stuff. I'd have a hard time picking against the Capitals. Like I'm on the Montreal hype train here, but after watching them play the Blackhawks Tuesday? They should have got blown out in that game. Like their defense is suspect at best.
The lack of experience on that team does scare me a bit. And watching more Capitals games as Ovi went on that goal chase, you just see a lot of depth there, a lot of physicality, and a lot of just well-rounded hockey players. I want to take Montreal in this so bad. I want to see that Bell Center rocking. I want to see Demidov do something special, but that's pretty hard to go against the Caps in this series, whether it's Montreal or the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, and to what you were just saying about the physicality and depth, like Montreal is one of the smallest teams in the league. They're fast, but I don't know if they're going to stand up to the physical beating that I think Washington will eventually put on them. If it's a 4-game or a 6-game series, I think they're just the size and the physical play is just going to wear them down.
So you're taking the Caps in this series?
If it's Montreal, I got Capitals in 5. If it's the Blue Jackets, I think I'd take Washington in 6.
Yeah, I pretty much had the same thing. I had Montreal taking it to 6 games, but the Caps winning, and I had 6 games with the Blue Jackets as well. So no major upsets in our predictions so far, but
pretty shocked.
But we're predicting some good matchups, and we should just take a moment to acknowledge Demidov. One thing I thought was pretty wild about him, in his contract that he just signed, he negotiated a Conn Smythe bonus, which was pretty interesting, of like $500,000 or something. So you gotta love the confidence, and he came out and showed it. He goal and an assist, and both of them were like, the assist was a beautiful primary assist, and just showed his skating and his ability to kind of manipulate the defense to open up lanes on that one.
And when was the last time you saw a standing ovation for an assist? Like, the crowd was going absolutely nuts. I hope we get to see that guy in the playoffs.
Same here, at least one series, and then who knows what could happen from there.
And the funny thing too was that you forgot about Lane Hudson out there. But you're like halfway through the first period, I was like, oh yeah, they got him too. Like, it was just total shift of focus.
Yeah, whatever happens with Montreal this year, you got to think the next couple of years are going to be bright with a pretty strong nucleus of talent there, all young and up and coming.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's round out the Eastern Conference with probably the most boring matchup in the first round of the playoffs. We got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils. You know what, Charlie? I don't think I'm ever going to be able to forgive the New Jersey Devils for the neutral zone trap that they established back in the 90s, giving us about 10 solid years of some of the most boring hockey ever when they were winning their cups. And it's funny, my mind cannot forget that. I don't care what style of hockey they play now, I still think of them as the boring New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, you see that jersey and you're just like, oh, we're in for a 2-1 game here.
Exactly. But let's break it down. What do you got? What was the season record? What are the odds here?
Canes minus 280 to win the series. New Jersey plus 225. They split the season series 2-2. Carolina's coming in. They're top 10 in scoring. They got the best penalty kill in the league, which you need to have come playoff time. On the other side,
that makes for exciting hockey.
Yeah.
Everybody tunes in for a good penalty kill.
Now, here's something that may shift your opinion here. New Jersey had a top 3 power play this year. So maybe, they're starting to spark the offense.
Yeah, I'm willing to be proven wrong. I will admit I haven't watched too many New Jersey Devils games this year, so I'm I'm hoping to be proven wrong, and that may turn out to be, an exciting series.
And one of the other things that they get Markstrom back, who is actually 2-1 against Carolina this year. They got a top 3 penalty kill as well in the league. Like, this is just like you were saying, this is screaming early 90s hockey here. As far as X factors go, for me, can Carolina score enough goals against this good penalty kill in Markstrom? And on the other side of things, I can't back a team who's coached by a guy who lost to a Zamboni driver.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Charlie. And for that reason, I'm going Canes and an easy one. 4 games straight, sweep, on to the next one.
You're taking the sweep. I believe that's our first sweep.
That's right.
I got Canes in 6. I think Jersey's gonna scrap out a couple, but I'm going to say right now I will not be watching any of these games.
All right, that wraps up our Eastern Conference preview. We went all chalk there, but as we move to the West, I think we got some more interesting matchups that could go either way. So we'll see if there's a difference of opinion there. Let's start things off with our President's Trophy winners, the Winnipeg Jets against the St. Louis Blues. Why don't you break it down for us here, Charlie?
All right, we got a 3-1 series win during the regular season for the Jets. The Jets are coming in at -215 to win the series. Blues, a live dog at +176. This is the same old story with the Jets, like a good team, but you got to start winning in the playoffs. Like, they're loaded. They probably are the deepest team in the West, I would say, other than maybe Dallas. But I kind of like the dog, the dog here. Like, the Blues are just coming in on a tear. They lost a couple late, but a 12-game win streak. Playing with house money at this point, right? It was, they were talking trade around January-ish, and all of a sudden, here they are. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I thought we were going to have a disagreement on this one because I was coming in with the underdog too. In fact, I put $5 back when St. Louis was on that hot streak. I put $5 on them to win the cup at +4,100. They're actually currently going into the playoffs at +5,500, so I should have bought a little higher on that one, but I'm sticking with it. I'm letting my $5 ride here. I think it'll be close. Obviously, the Jets are favored for a reason, but St. Louis, pretty hot throughout the end of the season with the 12-game win streak. Thomas, leading scorer in the NHL since Four Nations. We got the Binner-Hellebuck rematch from Four Nations. I think Binner's got his number there and might be in his head a little bit. Just with the coaching, St. Louis has a lot of depth, and I think if Binnington gets hot at the right time, obviously they're a bit of an underdog, but I'm taking the Blues in an upset in 7 games.
So I'm taking the Jets in 7, but the only reason I'm doing that is it's St. Louis penalty kill is a bottom 5 penalty kill, and the Jets are coming in with the best power play in the league. I'm taking the Jets in 7, but I do think that St. Louis is going to make this pretty uncomfortable for the Jets, and we are disagreeing, even though I would not be surprised if St. Louis wins this series. I'm taking Jets 7.
I feel like there's always one deep underdog that comes through in the first round, and I was kind of debating on whether I was going to go with the Blues or the Canadiens on this one, and just not feeling a lot of confidence in the depth from the Canadiens. So yeah, I think it's the Blues recapturing some of that magic from their last Stanley Cup run, but we'll see. Moving along to what most are eagerly anticipating as the best matchup in the first round. We've got the Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars. We've got some great storylines here. Rantanen playing against his former teammates. We got the captain, Landeskog, back for an emotional boost for the Avs. We got great players up and down the lineups here. The depth is crazy. It's hard to even pick out one or two players that we want to watch. It's more about kind of just sitting back and enjoying the ride on this one. But what were we at for the season series?
So they split the season series one apiece. Dallas is actually the underdog coming into this, which is kind of crazy, but I think I know why. I'll mention that in a second. Dallas is a +112, and the Avs are a -31, and I think The reason for that is Miro Heiskanen's not going to play in the first game, and he's sort of questionable for the second game. So if the Colorado can, sneak in there and grab one of these first two games, I think that's why they're the betting favorite. But you nailed it. Like, this is just up and down both lineups, just high end talent. And I kind of give the edge to Dallas as far as the defense and goaltending go. But the speed and offensive firepower of Colorado is going to be it's going to be a lot to handle, I think.
Well, I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag here. I'm going Colorado in 7. I think it's gonna be an awesome series. I think you could go either way. Ultimately, what's tipped me over to the Avs side is I think that emotional boost they're going to get from having Landeskog back in the lineup. And ultimately, I find when a series is tight like this, I go with the team that has the best players, and Colorado has 2 of the 5 best players in the league. Ultimately, I think that quality comes through in the key moments and is the difference maker in a very close series.
Yeah, I got Avs in 6. You start looking down the Dallas defensive lineup, and you take Heiskanen out of there, and you're going to start relying on guys like Cody Ceci and that Lyubushkin, who we saw what McDavid did to Lyubushkin not too long ago, and he's going to be just shitting his pants when he sees the likes of McKinnon and Makar coming at him with that same amount of speed. Unless Ottinger can somehow pull this out, I think the Avs are taking this as well.
Yeah, it's a shame we got to lose one of these teams in the first round, but at the same time, kind of a treat that we get this matchup right off the bat. Let's move on to the next matchup in the West. We got the Vegas Golden Knights against Minnesota Wild. Kind of the Devils Canes of the West for me, just in terms of both good teams, but just not 2 teams I've been captivated by throughout the year.
No, and Vegas won the series 3-zip. Vegas is a minus 235 favorite for the series. Minnesota plus 190 for the series. Vegas number 2 power play in the league, but kind of interesting, the 26th penalty kill. And Minnesota has a pretty decent power play, but just offensively, they're one of the bottom feeders as far as scoring goals. And I can't see this being too thrilling a series. I think Vegas is probably going to wrap this up pretty quick. The experience level of this Vegas team that's made a few deep runs in the last few years, it's a team that's just keeps getting better as far as adding top level guys. And I think Vegas is going to take this in 5. I think Minnie will get one at home, but I think it's going to be a quick one.
Yeah, I can't argue with you there. I think it's exciting to see the Wild get some key players back recently with Eriksson Ek, Kaprizov, and then Zeev joining the team from Denver. But ultimately, it's hard to bring those guys into the fold right at the end of the season and build that chemistry. And Vegas just has the depth and experience. So, yeah, I got Vegas in 6 myself. I think the Wild will get scrappy, get a couple there. But I'm taking Vegas in this one.
All right.
Okay, on to our annual matchup of the Kings and Oilers. The tables have turned a little bit this year with the Kings coming in home ice advantage. Obviously, Oilers dealing with tons of injuries down the stretch. Oilers is your account, Charlie. Talk to me about this series. How are you feeling and what's your take?
All right, so the Oilers, even with all the question marks, are a minus 138 favorite to win the series. Kings plus 115. The Kings won the season series, albeit one of those games was basically versus a exhibition game roster the other night with the 5-0 win. I kind of think the Oilers are playing a little bit possum here with some of these injuries. I think these guys are coming back at full strength. You're getting Vander Kane. I'm not sure what you're going to get, but he's going to slot in there somewhere. He hasn't played since the finals of last year. If you get a guy like Trent Frederick, who they picked up at the deadline, he only played 1 game with the Oilers, but I think he had 7 or 8 hits that game. Like, he was just hitting everybody, and that's what they've been missing. On the LA side, they're a solid team. They're a low event hockey team where they want to grind it out, almost like a Carolina. they can score, but they'd rather keep it tight and just kind of grind you out. But I don't know if you watched any Oilers games recently, but they had Jeff Skinner and Connor Brown playing with McDavid, and McDavid looked like the old McDavid. He looked re-energized. I'm not saying will be the lineup, but if those three guys can put something together, it now allows you to load up these other lines a little bit. And I just think Edmonton's going to be able to outscore them, and I'm not concerned with the LA offense. Goaltending's always an issue with Edmonton. Like that's going to be the big X factor there. But I think Edmonton in 6, they'll get one of the first two in LA, and then home ice shifts.
I'm kind of in line there. I think it's going to be a tight series, but I'm picking the Oilers for much the same reason as I mentioned with the Habs. You got two pretty evenly matched teams. I'm taking the team with the best player in the world, maybe the two best players in the world, and a lot of good playoff experience over the last couple of years. I don't think with a team like Edmonton, you read too much into regular season results. It's all about playoff time, and a fresh McDavid. That's a scary thing that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Absolutely.
Wow, okay. Well, that felt like a blur, to be honest. I'm so fired up here. Those are the 8 series. I'm looking at the clock right now. We're 2 minutes away from puck drop with the Canadiens-Canes game. That's going to be like a playoff, basically a play-in game for the Canadiens. So, yeah. Anything else you want to cover before we get into our enjoying that game?
No, I just can't wait for Saturday. Meaningful hockey. It's the best. It's the best action on TV by far.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the playoffs. We're going to be here each step of the way, bringing our reactions and thoughts on things. So looking forward to going on this ride with all the listeners out there, and we'll talk to you soon.